Channeled message.
Some people are not enraged by what you did. They are enraged by what failed. The issue was never really your tone, your boundaries, your distance, or your refusal to keep allowing disrespect, right? Their issue is that the damage did not finish the job. The humiliation did not take. The sabotage did not bury you. The lies did not turn your spirit to dust. The pressure did not make you unravel in public so they could stand over your remains and pretend your collapse was proof of your guilt, right? That is the wound they are carrying now. You survived the script. They had already written a version of your life where confusion made you weak, slander made you small, isolation made you desperate, and stress pulled you into a breakdown they could point and laugh at. They wanted a reaction they could package, a collapse they could circulate, a wound they could reopen every time they needed to justify what they did. Instead, you sharpened. That's why they are offended. That is what offends them. You did not come apart. You became harder to deceive, harder to bait, harder to read from a distance, and easier to recognize from close range. The person they expected to bleed out into confusion became more exact, more contained, more disciplined with access, more sober about their energy, more alert to manipulation, less available for fantasy and fuckery, right? Less willing to perform confusion and politeness just so other people could keep pretending they were innocent. That is a brutal outcome for corrupt people. Remember, because this wasn't in their script. My God, there is nothing more irritating to a manipulative person than a failed destruction. Nothing needles a sabotager like watching the intended target grow stronger from what was supposed to cripple them. I find it comical. But nothing disturbs a spiritually rotten person more than discovering the infection did not spread the way they planned. They wanted corrosion. They got clarity. They wanted shame. They got discernment. They wanted emotional leakage. They got a sealed threshold. So if you're wondering, yes, that is why some of them circle back. Not because love suddenly rose from the dead or because truth finally found them, not because their conscience finally matured into character either. A lot of returns are driven by consequence. They can feel something closing in, exposure, karma, spiritual recoil, the slow and ugly return of what they helped set in motion. They can feel the atmosphere changing around their choices, right? They can feel the weight of what they mocked, what they touched, what they mishandled, what they tried to break, what they all participated in, right? Then suddenly the same person they tried to bury starts looking less and less like a target and more like shelter. Don't be fooled. A return does not automatically mean remorse. Softness is not always sincerity. An apology is not always truth. Nostalgia is nothing but a pending binding. It is not always love. Plenty of people come back because your light still has utility to them, right? Your field still feels safer than the consequences following them. Your covering still feels better than the storm they created for themselves. So your presence still carries a steadiness they do not know how to generate on their own. Allowing them to come back will be detrimental. They do not come back to repair. They come back to reuse. Hear me. People miss this part because they want to be attached to things and they are still attached to old meanings. They hear tenderness and call it growth. They hear regret and call it repentance. They hear familiar language and start mistaking access for intimacy again. Meanwhile, the real motive is much darker and much simpler. They need somewhere soft to land. They need somewhere softer to land than the reality they have earned, right? They need a buffer, a shield, a place to set the panic down without having to carry the full weight of what they did to you, right? They do not get to wound you, fail to destroy you, then reach back for your spirit and your cover from the fallout. They do not get to sabotage your life in one season and then expect refuge in the next. They do not get to attack your future and later borrow your peace because their consequence finally learned their name. Are you mad? So let the consequence do its work. It ain't cruelty, it's order, right? Rescuing people from outcomes they deliberately authored is not compassion. It is interference. You are interfering with someone's karma. It is another form of self-betrayal. It is the reopening of the gate so the same hand that once struck the structure can come back inside and ask to be warmed by what it tried to set on fire. Their panic is not your assignment. Their exposure is not your emergency. Their collapse is not your cue to become soft at your own expense. What did we learn? You want another go? What did we learn? So this is where your discernment matters most. When they sound sorry, look sorry, act sorry, they are sorry for themselves, not you. That is when people get careless, right? Not when the enemy is loud, when the enemy is tired, the voice drops, when the rage puts on a sweater, right? When the manipulation learns how to tremble, method act. That is when a lot of people abandon wisdom and call it mercy and grace and forgiveness and da-da-da-da. Forget all that. Look at the pattern, not the words, not the timing, not the sentimental fog. Those are traps. Look at the fruit. Is there truth? Is there accountability? Is there repair? Is there consistency? Is there humility with no demand attached? Is there actual change that costs them something? Or is this just fear dressed up as tenderness because the old strategy failed and the walls are starting to answer back? The walls are starting to close in, right? A lot of people are not sorry for the harm. They had no regrets, none. They are not sorry for the harm. They are sorry the harm did not work. They are not grieving your pain. They are grieving the loss of control. They are not heartbroken for what wounded you and how they wounded you. They are not heartbroken. They are furious that even after all that effort, you still have breath in your body. Not only that, standards, clarity, stronger discernment in the future they could not choke out. That is why protection matters more than nostalgia. Protect your feel. Protect your access, protect the threshold, protect what became precise in you after the smoke cleared. Not everyone who wants back in deserves a door, a seat, space, time. Not everyone who returns is sent by God. Some come back because the shield they mocked is the same shield they now want to hide behind. They don't miss you. They want your covering. They want your protection. They do not miss you. They miss the covering they lost when they betrayed you.
End of message.